everybody, welcome to McFarland Minutes, our weekly podcast hosted by Natalie McFarland, me, and founder and president of McFarland Productions, and Scout Foster, our outreach marketing manager. In these episodes, you can expect deleted scenes, in-depth campaign reviews, project highlights, marketing concepts, book reviews, and a deep dive into the creative process at Off Your Rocker Films, and of course, invaluable lessons on mentorship, leadership, and the business of it all. We are so excited to be releasing our episodes every Sunday as your soft launch to Monday. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 16 of McFarland Minutes, your soft launch to Monday. This week, we are introducing to you to one of our good friends, the executive director at Mustang Champions. If you are not familiar with the Mustang industry and what the BLM is doing and how they're working with nonprofits like Mustang Champions, this is going to be a stellar episode. This is a really cool program. We do a little bit, I've seen a little bit of in the Pacific Northwest where we do a little bit of this BLM, Mustang sale, taking a yearling sort of situation, but Mustang Champions is special. They kind of go above and beyond from a program perspective and get to highlight these Mustangs in places that you maybe normally wouldn't see them, in the South Point Hotel and Casino, Las Vegas, Nevada, in Kentucky, at the Kentucky Horse Park. Anyway, I want to introduce you to our friend Matt. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, Natalie.
So Matt, you've got a really cool background, and I think that your path, and something that I've talked a lot about on this podcast is that my path was not super straight to get to where I am now, but I feel like all those pieces have kind of culminated together to become what we are today, right? I get to use all those skills that I built over time. I feel like it's somewhat similar from your history. Can you tell us a little bit about your career? I'd love to hear how you got here.
So I always wanted to be in advertising. I don't know why, but it was always a very clear goal. I went to the University of Texas. I was an advertising major in the creative sequence. Worked at various agencies, the Richards Group, Tracy Locke, Bozell, Timberland McLean at a time, NWAir, worked on accounts like American Airlines, J.C. Penney, Frito-Lay, Pepsi, as an art director and a creative director. And at a certain point, dropped out and got into digital marketing around 2000. People thought I was crazy. And the combination of advertising and watching the digital and being a part of the digital world as it grows has really allowed me to be able to do what I do for Mustang Champions. For Mustang Champions, a little background, I used to show hunter and jumper, so English discipline when I was a teenager. My sister is a coach and trainer to this day, and I really credit her for teaching me how to ride, how to compete, and eventually how to produce horse shows. So Mustang Champions is a nonprofit that we created. There are a group of us that have produced Mustang events for over 10 years. Very, very experienced in that world. Our vision for Mustang Champions was to not only have a Western discipline competition, but also to have the first of its kind English discipline competition. So it really helps grow the Mustang community. It allows people to train and compete with Mustangs in their discipline. So we're really a very unique organization today.
Yeah, I was trying to think of anyone else that I've seen that's taken Mustangs in the English disciplines, and tell me a little bit about that. I'm not super familiar. How does that go? How do they perform? Tell me a little bit about Mustangs in the English world.
So there are people that have been doing like regional or local competitions with Mustangs, eventing in particular. The concept was, and it's true for both our Western discipline competition and our English discipline competition, is trying to place Mustangs in the highest profile venues in the United States. One, we think they're worth it. Two, we want to engage with competitors and adopters and owners to compete at this highest level by enticing them with prize money that you might not see in a lot of national equine competitions. So our total purse is $125,000 for both competitions. And
Wow.
if you win $50,000. So that's $50,000 to the champion. So we're really trying to bring people in that might not normally work with or compete with a Mustang in order to not only showcase the horses, but also showcase the level of the competitor that has taken it on as an opportunity to compete in a completely kind of different way. Our English competition involves show jumping, training level dressage, and working equitation, which I'm not terribly familiar with. It came out of Portugal. It's kind of like a Western trail class, but with obstacles and done in kind of a more dressage format. The finals competition, we take our top 10 competitors and you do a freestyle performance, which involves costumes and music. So it's really amazing what people do in order to try to win $50,000. On the Western discipline side at South Point Arena in Las Vegas, again, another premier venue. Um, it is reining, trail, and ranch are the preliminary classes. And again, the top 10 compete in a freestyle competition, music, costumes. And again, they are similar but dissimilar. Last year were our first competitions, and it was interesting to see who competed in both, which in the traditional competition world, no one would ever do. Everything is so kind of compartmentalized. If you
Yep.
do dressage, you do show jumping, you don't do eventing. If you do, you know, reining, you don't necessarily do sorting. So it's been interesting, and we've had some complaints because people are having to learn things that they wouldn't normally have to learn in order to compete.
Pushing them outside, I
And, and,
like it.
and the intent there is really just to show the versatility of the horses. And we had the gentleman that won our Western competition, Mustang Challenge last year in Las Vegas, went to the Mustang Classic in Rolex Stadium at the Kentucky Horse Park, and he placed third. So he won over $80,000 last year
Wow.
with the same horse. And I think no matter what discipline, um, no matter what discipline, pardon me, that's pretty amazing. That's a pretty amazing amount of money to win in a year.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, especially in the Mustang space, sort of a growing space. We have some friends that do some of the Mustang sales. So they in Oregon, I think it's in Oregon. Pretty sure it's an Oregon circuit. It might be a Pacific Northwest, don't quote me on this, but they get a yearling off of a truck straight off the, public lands, and then they spend, I think, like 6 months maybe with them, and there's all in hand, right? These are not broke to ride horses. These are all on the ground in hand type of competitions, but it's so fun to watch those Mustangs go from completely unhandled to, you know, your buddy, they can do that too.
Exactly.
But
And something we've tried to do several things differently. For example, trying to give people as much time as possible to train to compete. So instead of like
mhm,
120 days or 100 days, we allow people to start adopting in October to then compete Western discipline in July and English discipline in September. So these are things
mm,
that we have just learned producing Mustang events over time, trying to get as many people in the arena to compete as possible. A lot of times, 120 days is too fast.
mhm,
So we used to maybe 50% of the horses that would be picked up for competition would actually get to the competition itself. And even then, probably 25% shouldn't have been there. So we're
sure.
really trying to give the competitors the best chance possible, the Mustangs the best chance possible to showcase themselves in the best light.
How does someone become a competitor? Is there like an application process or a specific organization? Do they go through you? How does somebody become a competitor?
Yes. So the horses need to be adopted between this year, between October 1 and April 15, just to be eligible. You do
Okay.
not need to be the adopter or the owner to compete with the Mustang. There is an application process, there is an entry fee, and a competitor can compete with up to two horses. So that's another way we're trying to give people more opportunity to win some money. and
Sure.
get even higher numbers of horses in our competitions competing.
So, why Mustangs? For you personally, why
Oh,
Mustangs?
wow. So, and I may tear up on this, I don't know. We used to get thoroughbreds off the track when I was a teenager, and we kind of retrain them to jump. So
Mhm.
that was kind of the gig in the day. And now warm bloods have taken over the English world, so the aftermarket for thoroughbreds is an issue. But a Mustang is a different experience, um, particularly if you are the person that gentles them because of the trust and the bonding that needs to be developed in order for them to progress with their training. Um, you have to, it's a learned process on the human side of how to do that initial gentling. But once they bond with you, it is unlike any equine horse relationship experience I've ever had before. I've got two Mustangs. My daughter and I adopted them as yearlings 12 years ago. She trained them, guided by a trainer. I competed with them as yearlings at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo once upon a time, and it's interesting. Even 12 years later, they're my horses, of course. Now I go down to see them 3 times a day and feed them. When Mama comes home, they act differently with her than they do with me. It is just it's very, very, very interesting. But I feel like when I ride my Mustangs that I'm connecting with them differently than I feel like I ever connected with any thoroughbred that I used to train. I kind of relate it to the Avatar movie when they plug into their flying beasts. It's that connection of you have to be more of a partnership
Mhm.
versus I'm telling the horse what I want when I want it to do something.
Mhm.
It's just a different experience, and I think it's fantastic.
I
Fantastic.
love that imagery, like if you relate it back to Avatar, that's a really cool way of describing that feeling with a Mustang. Um,
The
Scout.
other difference I will say is the competitive communities. So my experience in the English world was I couldn't even talk to people in another barn. It was like
Sure.
it was very strict, and the Mustang community people, even in the arena, will help each other if their horse is having an issue.
Mm, yeah,
So I
that's
find it
cool.
to be very, very, very different. And when we have competitions, it's like a homecoming.
Mhm.
People have traveled from across the United States to come to these competitions, and it's just a family.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it's just such a cool experience. Scout, hello, my friend.
Hi, you guys have been just really captivating me.
We are, right? You and I are twinning really good today,
We
and,
are.
I think it's a great time to bring up how we actually met Matt. So, we work with Schaefer Outfitter, and I think we've mentioned them quite a few times here on this podcast. We're both wearing Schaefer Wild Rags
All
today.
of
All of
us.
us are wearing
All of
Schaefer
us.
Wild Rags today. Look at us. But we got the opportunity to work with Matt originally last year, from the Schaefer Outfitter side. So Schaefer is a sponsor. They're at Mustang Champions and got to see some of the really cool content that came out of the competition. I think maybe my favorites photos that we got, Scout, were probably the costumes. Did you have a favorite?
Yeah,
100%. That was it. It was
I
great.
don't think we were even aware that the
I
costume
did
part
not
was
know.
part of it. So we got it. We're like, what the heck is
Huh.
happening here? um,
yeah.
do you
Jack Sparrow, who won the competition, by the way, was he's really really good.
I
Yeah,
I bet. I mean,
his props were terrific. Yeah.
what a fun experience, and like, I mean, like, horse competitions could be really serious and really long days, so I just loved the breakup of that.
You were talking a little bit about more of the competitive events through the eyes of the trainers and the horses and things, but what are a few things that your spectators and fans can expect out of your event coming up pretty soon? About know the dates, but I think this podcast will be
So,
released like right on event day.
right. So Mustang Challenge, we very intentionally placed in Vegas, which
Hmm.
the majority of the population of Mustangs are in Nevada, so
Mhm.
that was something we also wanted to bring awareness to. But the South Point Arena is a beautiful venue. Uh, it was 125 degrees when we were there last year, so it's very nice that it's a complex with hotel, spa, casino, and then our competition venue. So that is it's just a great experience. And we really want people to come and enjoy Las Vegas the way they might want to, but then come watch our preliminary classes, which will be over Thursday, Friday, and then the finals on Saturday. We have a VIP experience if you would like to come have a premier seating and some food and beverage that is all right there. We're going to have a speaker series, I believe, and really try to help educate people about Mustangs as well as watch the competition. And then Saturday night, we just want to make it as fun as possible. We want you to dress up. We want it to be a party. We are going to have an after party this year, which we did not have last year. But it's just like come enjoy your style of Vegas and support some Mustangs as they're in competition. And all income from this event we use to do more events. So we're doing our first ever youth competition.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's just really supporting us, our nonprofit, what we're doing, but also getting more Mustangs out of holding and into what we call private care, really into homes.
hmm hmm you and I were talking before this podcast, and you brought up a really great
Mm.
point about the number of horse owners in the U.S. And I don't want to spoil your line, so will you run that by us
Sure,
again? Because it
sure.
was so
So,
good.
I'm speaking to the audience. How many of you own horses? I bet a few
Yes.
of you might, but probably unlikely. Do you pay taxes to the government? And I bet if I asked you to raise your hand, probably everyone watching this podcast would raise their hand. The reality is, as an American taxpayer, you own over 60,000 Mustangs that are roaming 10 Western United States on public land, and you own over 60,000 Mustangs that are in some form of holding. Mustangs are very good at reproducing. Mares start having foals at 2 years old. They will double in population every 4 to 5 years. So the government, the BLM Wild Horse and Burro program gathers Mustangs through water trapping, feed trapping, and helicopter gathers to keep the populations at a manageable level so they don't overgraze the range. In the range, this land in which they live, no humans live on it. So it doesn't recover very easily or quickly. So what our organization is about and what we have a government grant to do is to do an education program. We have 5 kiosks that we ship across the country with a VR headset experience where you stand with horses in the wild and have information,
Cool.
current information about Mustangs and the horses that you own. And then we produce these 2 national competitions. So that is what we are about. And any donations we receive, we're putting into youth competitions. So that's really kind of a overview of Mustang Champions.
That's really cool. Scout, did you know that you own 60,000 horses?
I do now.
I saw your
That's
eyebrows go up
wild.
as he said that
I would have never
statistic.
expected that. I would have never thought that. I
And
didn't know the
why would
population was
anyone
so
even
large.
think about it, right?
No.
But
Yeah, no.
highly encourage everyone to learn more.
hmm
Come to our website, go to the blm.gov/WHB URL, lots of information about your horses.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, do you have any more wild facts? I'm intrigued. I don't
Huh.
know the question to ask, but do you have anything else that will just blow your mind? Not to put you on the spot or
That's a
anything.
trick question, man. That's a trick question. Yeah,
Scout's good at those.
yeah, yeah.
What else can you
Um,
tell me?
um, I just have a hope
Mhm.
that um, government funding doesn't shift to where the Mustangs are in any kind of jeopardy. And
Mhm.
if there's any kind of reason that we won't be able to continue doing what we're doing that's a huge need. The
Mhm.
Mustangs Immigration is not an easy subject to discuss. It's very controversial. There are lots of points of view, and everyone needs to get engaged however they can, with whatever point of view one might develop. But I just encourage everyone to get educated, understand the facts. There's a lot of information that might not be correct out there in the online,
Mhm.
but no matter what, I highly encourage to get engaged at some level.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, the fact that just that statement alone, like, technically you're an owner of 60,000 horses out there, wild, that alone is probably something that I mean, I didn't know when you said it, Scout didn't know it when you said it again because she wasn't there when you said it the first time, so that was real. But, yeah, I think that there's a huge population out there that maybe don't even realize that it exists, right? That maybe like wild horses are a thing of the past. That's not a real thing, especially if you come from, even in some of the equine leaning areas of like Southern California, right? There's some really great equine barns in Southern California, but they might not even be aware that there
Right,
is a wild horse
right,
situation and
right.
that it's still a thing. Um,
So it's been an honor to take my advertising background and I do all the creative for Mustang Champions, or I might partner with some people that have worked with me at various times in my career to do some of the initial illustrations or design work. But it is just such an honor to be able to apply those skills over all those years. I help plan all the media campaigns, promotions. It's a give back because I
mhm.
know that what we're doing is certainly changing the lives of horses. But I've have too many experiences where people have approached me over the years and said, "This experience has changed my life." And I don't know on many of the advertising accounts of which I've worked that I was changing any lives at all. So
Sure.
at this point in time in my career, it's a thrill. It's a
Oh,
thrill to be
man.
able to apply those skills.
Yeah, I some of the projects that we've worked on over time, the ones that I think stick out in our mind most are the ones that really made an impact on someone or a group of someone's, right?
Right,
And yeah, I can feel that. Sometimes it just feels like you're pushing a product, but other times you're making an impact, and that's
right,
that's a huge thing.
right, right.
Um, so if somebody is crazy enough to not be attending the event this year,
Ah, go
can
buy some
you
Schaefer clothing, outfitter clothing. Sure.
yeah, do that. That's
Yeah,
step
do that.
1.
At least do that.
Step 2, adopt a Mustang in
Yeah,
the fall. Uh, but
exactly.
but,
Yeah,
uh,
come.
on a but on a not joking experience, you've got some really great ways that you're getting the competition out there, even if you can't attend in person. Can you talk some about what that looks like and how someone can get involved even if they can't be there this year?
Yeah. So one of our fun little things we're partnering with McFarland Productions on is
That was not a setup.
just saying, it's a social collab. So trying to involve Schaefer Outfitters, American Hat Company, Lane Boots, and fashion influencer to really get people excited about attending, certainly, but if not through fashion brands in the Western community, to just be able to build awareness for our Mustang efforts and what we're doing with Mustangs, but just learning a little bit through social.
Sure. Are you streaming anywhere? Remind me.
We are also streaming, thank you very much, on Equestrian Network is streaming the event for us. It will be on Ride TV. It will also Equus Television will be there, and you'll be able to stream the event on Equus Television. And their commentator Diana Rosa will be doing interviews as part of their content. Another element is Scott Knudsen, the cowboy entrepreneur. I don't know if you know him or not, but very interesting personality. He will be our commentator for the event. So He will be there. He has a foundation that you could learn about. They raise money to help support people in the Western community that are in need. Um, so just trying to pull together uh, different groups and companies and just kind of create a synergistic um, uh, program to really build awareness for Mustangs.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Cowgirl Magazine's coming on as a little bit more of a partner this year. So we're excited to bring Cowgirl Magazine into, and I know they worked some with you last year
Yes,
too, but
absolutely.
we're gonna see if we can bury you in Mustangs and Cowgirl.
New fashion. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's,
yeah, for
yes,
sure.
yes.
I think it's so cool how this year you're really bringing in that Western fashion element. We're working, with you to do that, but what an idea from your perspective to do that. What made you want to bring in the fashion element, and why do you feel like brands can be involved?
So for years, been involved in doing events at Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. I have also had the opportunity to attend NFR, and it is it's see and be seen,
Mhm.
right? So I just the thought was show up for Mustangs.
Mhm.
Let's put on a little dog and have a bit of a party and celebrate our American Mustang.
Yeah, yeah, it should be really fun. I'm hopeful to make it there myself this year. We'll see if that happens.
All right.
But if I don't make it to that one, I might have to make it to the Kentucky Horse Park because I would be lying if I said that's a venue I haven't been to yet and it's on my list because it just looks amazing, just to
So
be in that grounds.
I have been to the Defender 3-day event for a couple of years, and Rolex Stadium, year before last, was a venue that was an Olympic qualifying trial venue. So the idea that basically $125 Mustangs are competing in a venue where you have 500 multi-million dollar horses, international competition, makes me smile and makes the hair stand up on my arms. And people were so thankful to be able to compete in that arena because there is no other competition that they would have qualified for that would have given them the opportunity to be in Rolex Stadium.
Yeah.
So it's just a thrill to be able to have dreamed it up and it's happening. And that's what being in marketing and being a conceptual thinker is all about, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, you've certainly achieved that with Mustang Champions. We have one question that we ask every single one of our guests.
Okay.
Scout, do you want to go ahead and set that up for Matt?
Yeah, so our podcast release on Sundays at 6 p.m. as a soft launch to Monday. So you can, as you're washing your dishes or blow drying your hair or something, you can listen to our podcast. What is your soft launch to Monday? And it can be anything that helps you prep for the week.
Or the competition itself.
It can
It could
be
be for
either.
you. We've had people say, it's my day to go to church and enjoy family and do
No,
that kind of thing. We've
no,
had people say it's my
no,
day to wash my hair,
no,
Yeah.
no,
For me, it's double check my emails so my email inbox isn't wild on Monday.
no. I'm all about getting the suitcases out and
Hmm.
spending days packing so I forget nothing. Because I feel like because I grew up in the English discipline world, putting on my Western outfits, it's a bit of a costuming job. It's like I could use a stylist probably myself, but
We know one of those.
I have to be very sure that I'm taking all the things I need to be able to be my best and represent Mustang Champions certainly, but really the Mustang community. But
Awesome.
it's just a lot of
Wonderful.
fun, and I get nervous. I get very, very excited. You can ask my wife. It's just so much fun to do
Yeah.
events.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of an event hoe, you know? So,
We do a
We are
lot of
too.
events too, and I feel like we feel the same way.
yeah.
When you come
Hmm.
off of an event,
Oh,
what is this is kind of a cool thing that we do. We always do like a wrap up session. We go over like what went well, what didn't go well, how we can fix it next time. And I feel like there's sort of an adrenaline rush. Is that something that you do as you're prepping or like kind of decompressing
I mean,
from the event?
absolutely. And we've done that for years as a team. We will individually, we have a set of questions that we kind of fill in our thoughts, and then we combine them, and we have a meeting to discuss what went well, what didn't do well, what could be improved. But
Yeah.
something that you made me remember, I did a lot of television production in the day, and I would always come off with what I called post-production depression because
Yes.
I was on such a high for a fixed period of time that coming off of a project, and it's the same for these events. I have to go through my little depression,
Yeah.
and
I totally
then
get
I'm good
that.
to go. And then I'm good
It,
to go
it's
again, you know?
It's almost like when you get, like, really invested in a TV series and then, like, it ends and, like, you kinda lost all your friends, right? Like, Friends was a great one. How I Met Your Mother, I feel like I felt that way, where you kinda, like, got so invested and then it's over, and we get the same way with productions, where we're like, "Man, like, when's the
What do we
next
do
one?"
now?
Like, "Now what? Now
Yeah,
what?" When
yeah,
we
I
get to do
definitely
some of
run
the
on
film stuff.
adrenaline.
Yeah,
During
for
the
sure.
and I'm basically there for a week getting ready because I want to be sure that I have plenty of time to think everything through and make sure
Sure.
things are organized appropriately and executing properly. But
Sure, give
it's so much,
yourself time the
so,
space to think.
so much fun.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing like sleep deprivation and a
Uh,
3-day event to really get your blood pumping.
well, and it's like I'll do 20,000 steps in boots in a day,
Yeah.
and my
Yeah.
feet are not happy about it at all. But I wake up the next morning, put those boots back on, and here we go. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Shooting events, we usually, like, track all of our steps, and a lot of times we'll compare, and, it's very funny.
I know where this is going. I
Poor
had already
Scout. So, Scout, um our team is generally fairly tall women. So, except
not
for
me.
Scout, who is a normally heighted woman, right?
I'm
And,
probably a little below average.
Let me guess,
I'm
her
pretty
steps
short.
are few than yours. Few more
she
than
has
yours.
so many so many steps for the same distance. Poor
Yeah,
Scout gets her
that's
little
great.
feet run off.
That's great. That's
It's
fun.
so great.
But she's everywhere.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, events are a lot of fun, but,
And they're not for everybody,
definitely
you know,
tiring.
I think it's just kind of in your blood. You either
Yeah,
are or
I
you
think
are not. I think advertising as well, you know, and God bless my daughter, she's a copywriter with VML, and it's just kind of like, oh my God, passed all that on extremely honestly, and God bless you, you know?
yeah, you have to be built different for either one of those things, events or for marketing.
Mentally and physically, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Emotionally.
cool.
yeah.
Well, Matt, it is always a pleasure to chat with you,
Thank you.
and thank you so much for being on the podcast. How can people follow or get more information about Mustang Champions? Can
Yeah.
you run us through
So,
your list?
yeah, Mustang Champions URL is mustangchampions.org.
Mhm.
Mustang Challenge, the Western event in Las Vegas, is mustangchallenge2025.com.
Okay,
The English event is mustangclassic25.com.
awesome.
So you can learn more about the event. You can see who's competing. You can plan your trip. We have discount hotel rates. We have links to things you can do in both cities while you're there. Yeah, come explore the sites, and please contact me at Matt, dot Manroe, Manroe, at mustangchampions.org if you would like to email me and ask me anything.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we can't wait to continue to support this event. We've had so much fun working with you so far and can't wait to see how this year goes. But thank you for being on the podcast.
Certainly.
And we'll probably do it again sometime. Maybe we'll do an event wrap up or something like that
Oh,
after the
all right.
English
That
one.
would be fun.
All right.
I'm
That's great.
I'm gonna go try and convince my husband to adopt a Mustang. You've sold me, but I don't know if you'll sell him. He's a bit of
So,
a harder sell.
so what I would recommend is, and what I do to people is, after these horses have gone through their competitions,
Mm-hmm.
I would contact the competitor and see about adopting one of the trained horses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's a great
we
idea.
raise rodeo cattle, so like bucking bulls. So I feel like
Oh my gosh.
it's kind of the same thing. That's pretty controversial,
Yeah.
and they're a little
Yes.
bit spunky, and I feel like Mustangs are pretty spunky. There's a different vibe there, so I feel like it makes sense.
Maybe they could be spunky together.
Right.
They might be best friends.
Good. I just like, good attitudes. You know what I mean? Like strong. I like
Yeah.
that in an
Yeah.
animal. So I think
Yeah.
this is for me. We'll see.
Awesome.
Happy to help however I can.
Well,
Uh,
perfect.
Perfect.
uh,
Well, thanks again, and we'll chat with you next time.
okay.